The sun is shining and OTB is ready to set sail with Irish Ferries to bring you a unique look into some of the French cities that will be hosting the 2023 Rugby World Cup. Joining me on this adventure is Munster legend Alan Quinlan. We are skipping the airport queues and the cramped aeroplane seats and instead travelling in style aboard the WB8, the very same ferry that'll be getting fans to France later this year. We're on the top deck. We've just set sail from Dublin Bay and we're en route to Cherbourg in France, where myself and Alan Quinlan have the tough job of visiting some of the cities and stadiums ahead of the Rugby World Cup later this year. Alan, are you looking forward to the trip?
Yeah, I am. It's certainly an exciting one. So going over to France, I've been there many times to France playing, working a few times since I retired, but it's a lovely place and it's something I'm really looking forward to. Rugby in France is different, you know, it's the home atmospheres in all the stadiums is incredible. I've experienced that as a player and I've worked there and done commentary there as well, so they love their rugby. We're going to go and do a bit of exploring and seeing some of these cool places that people and the fans can go and see, and here we are, we're off on the ferries.
This is the kind of trip where you can stretch out, roam around and never feel cramped, even if you are an over 6 foot tall former rugby player. And if your timing is good, you might stumble across a free wine tasting on board the ferry.
What's so good about French wine?
French wine is authentic. You know, you've got so many different styles of wine. You've got small estates who produce quality wine, less brands. I think you're used to lots of big brands where they tend to produce wine a bit like HP sauce. It all comes out the same. Whereas French wines will be different from one vintage to the next. They'll be different from one vineyard to the next, because they've all got their little patches of land which produce different styles of wine. So you will get something that's interesting. And generally handmade as well.
Its sheer size from the outside is even more evident inside, filled with an array of comfortable seating, space to socialise, and if you really want to treat yourself, you can upgrade your ticket to get access to the Irish-free club class lounge and travel in style. With travelling over for games in France, you probably didn't get to see much of the city.
Not as a player, you don't. I tell you, France is like a little bit like New Zealand in a sense that you really feel the culture around rugby in some of these towns. It's a real kind of coming together, and that's the way all these towns are around France, these cities, that it's a big event on the weekend, and everybody, it's a very important part of their culture, and rugby, and winning the top 14 in France is sometimes seen by some clubs as bigger than winning the European Cup. France is beautiful. It's beautiful. The culture is nice. Food is nice. It's an acquired taste. It's different. I don't find bacon and cabbage there like I'm used to at home and in Tipperary. The Irish fans in France are going to play a massive role in helping the team. They always, and like this is a fact, and you're working in sport now, Aisling, for a long time, and you're out meeting people and in all the different sports. Irish people will back you, even if the result is not going your way. It's in the GA, in soccer, and in rugby. You know, we're renowned throughout the world for being great supporters. We're saying that, you know, the smooth journey we're on at the moment, hopefully it'll be
so good, Alan.
A smooth journey for Ireland come the World Cup in September.
Yeah, fingers crossed. There's lots of dining options on the WB8, and our choice for the evening was a sit-down meal in the Lady Gregory to enjoy a freshly prepared meal by the Irish Ferries team of top-notch chefs. This is fine dining in the middle of the Celtic Sea, and it is an experience to savour. After dinner, drinks can be had in the Maud Gon bar and is often accompanied with some special entertainment.
And what did you have to eat, my beloved one?
With an equally exciting and relaxing first stage of our journey done, All that's left for us to do is head to our beds, and before we know it, we'll be in Cherbourg. Cherbourg lies at the heart of the second largest artificial harbour in the world, and it is one of the best connected ferry ports in France. The city is a short walk from the quay, with plenty of shops, bars and restaurants along the way. Alan, we've landed safe and sound off the ferry. We're on the way to Nantes.
Yeah, we have. It was lovely. It was really nice. We're here in Cherbourg, and we've a little drive ahead of us. Looking forward to that, and the adventure continues on. Really, I think it seems like a flash that we were in leaving Dublin yesterday, but we're here now, and it's exciting. That's the lovely ferry behind us. The food was lovely. The experience was really nice.
And we're looking forward to getting to Nantes Stadium now, Stade de la Bourgeois, to see what it's all about and to maybe take in some of the atmosphere that some of the supporters will see.
Probably visualise what it's going to be like
exactly.
here in a few months.
This is it. It's just a bit of a sneak peek. That's what we're trying to do, just give them an idea of what it's going to be like.
And assure everyone we got to Cherbourg safe and sound.
Cherbourg is located in the Normandy region, and after you leave the city, you can get a first-hand experience of famous battles fought in World War II. For any history buffs, you can head to Utah Beach. And on a clear day, Mont Saint-Michel can even be seen in the distance on your drive south. The route is full of stunning cathedrals, castles and museums that are all easy to access along the route to Nantes. Nantes is 340 kilometres away from Cherbourg, about a 3.5-hour drive. On your way into Nantes from Cherbourg, you'll find the Stade de la Bourgeois, where Ireland will face a bruising Tongan team in the group stage. The stadium seats 35,000 people and is easily accessible on a 30-minute tram ride from the city centre. With a stop right outside the stadium, make sure to get onto tramline number 1. We're outside the Stade de la Bourgeois stadium, where Ireland will play Tonga in their second game in the World Cup. What can we expect from this Tonga side?
If you go back and look at the history of Tonga, I think it was 2007, they lost by 5 points to the eventual winner, South Africa, in the pool stages. That was 30-25. In 2011, they beat France in New Zealand, in Wellington. 2019, they lost by 2 points to France in the pool stages. So the reality here is, and not many people are talking about Tonga, it's all about South Africa, Scotland, Ireland and that pool. But the new eligibility rules and changes that World Rugby brought in a couple of years ago enables Tonga to have Charles Piutau back, George Moala, Malachi Fekitoa, Ben Taumafuna. These are guys that played with New Zealand before, they're capped All Blacks. So they'll have a number of players that'll bring experience and quality, obviously, as well. A lot of their players are now playing in a lot of the top clubs across Europe, playing in Super Rugby as well. So they're going to be very physical, powerful players. Technically, you think Ireland will be able to cope, but it's certainly not a game that you can underestimate the opposition, because they've shown before when they get their act together and when they get proper structure and training, that they can be very, very dangerous. So in this stadium here in September,
it's where it all happens,
yeah, it's Ireland's second match. Ireland won't underestimate Tonga. But look, they probably will come in with nothing to lose, and their preparations, they're capable, as I said, of a big scalp here. They've never been out of the pool stages, but I feel this time, if they get their preparation right and get all their players available to them,
they're hoping this is their chance.
They'll be very, very dangerous, yeah. Well, with Scotland and South Africa there and Tonga, you're looking at the South Africans and the Tongans being incredibly powerful and physical. So, maybe it'll focus the minds and keep Ireland on their toes. It's a tricky one for Andy Farrell because, World Cups I've been at, if you play the perceived weaker teams early, you kind of mix and match your squad. So it'll be interesting to see, does he put out his best team at the start, and how much mixing and matching he does for those two games, because South Africa and Scotland are going to be really attritional as well. It's all about being brilliant in September, October, and that's what Andy Farrell wants. And when they hit this stadium here, that they're gearing up, that they've hopefully a really good result against Romania the previous week, get a positive result here, and then start looking forward to South Africa and Scotland, and the intensity will ramp up, and you know, the fans will play a big part of that as well.
Nantes is one of the most vibrant cities in France and one that has been rapidly changing. Have you ever been to Nantes before?
No, I've never been to Nantes. I've been to many French cities.
It is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, and the sun has come out. It was a little bit chilly last night, but it's definitely brightened up today.
It's early, but if you look around, all the little coffee shops, the chairs are starting to come out on all these little side streets, so it's really cool.
You can really imagine what the buzz will be like come September, October time.
Well, you say square, like it's kind of a little bit circular, but it is the square. You can imagine all the Irish fans all around here. Of course, there will be some Tongan fans as well.
Oh yeah.
And, you can picture this. There's loads of little bars and cafes off this, and you can just see it, can't you? They're singing and cheering here and meeting. It's a great place probably to meet. So I can see all the Irish around there. Maybe one or two of them having a little dip in the fountain as well. And we were just in the big square there, but this is the front part of the old town, and there's loads of restaurants, bars around here. Again, a really good meeting point. We're going to go and say hello to Philippe Ramé.
Yeah,
He's
Philippe
a
Ramé.
famous artist in
sure.
Nantes. I'm going to go up and have a little, see if I can stand underneath him. Come on, let's check the height here.
Yeah, check the height.
Do you have to bend down slightly? Yeah, but he had big feet, hadn't he? Look, size of him. But it's a really good meeting point. I think I love to have a meeting point when you're away in a big group like this. So, Philippe Ramé, you could be the man that could connect all these Irish people together.
Could be.
Sure, the Irish people will find loads of bars and restaurants. There's tons and tons of them behind here.
Yeah.
But, look, it should
we
be
went
cool.
by an Irish bar as well. I'm sure that will be packed out.
It should be cool.
The city feels like it's been built for people, with pedestrian-only streets and wide open squares like the Place du Buffet. Fans will have no trouble finding spaces to congregate and hopefully celebrate another Irish win. The city is teeming with a rich history that can be felt from the cobblestones all the way to the windows that line the alleys. It's a creative hub in modern-day France, having been transformed from an industrial centre in the 1980s. This is evident everywhere, with bright murals in the city to the expressive culture of the people. The locals are known as Nantais, and from our experience, very welcoming of people visiting their city from abroad. Thanks to Jules Verne's influence, the city is also home to some interesting rides and experiences. For those travelling with their family or just with a sense of adventure, there is a giant mechanical elephant that you can actually ride. The Loo Tower, famous for its previous life as a biscuit manufacturer, is right across from the castle of the Dukes of Brittany, the hub of culture in Nantes. Just speaking about some of the players that are going to be experiencing the World Cup for the first time, I'm sure there's a lot of pressures and the unknown for them as well. What was it like for you, Alan, when you went to your first World Cup?
That was in '99. It was on home soil. It was in France, Ireland and the UK. Got my first cap. My World Cup lasted about 5 days because we beat Romania on Friday night, and then we had to play Argentina in Lens on the Tuesday night, and we were knocked out, so it was over pretty quick. Better memories of Adelaide. Well,
yeah.
Double-edged sword. I got injured there, dislocated my shoulder in scoring against Argentina. Again, we were knocked out of the quarterfinals by France. 2007 then was in France.
Yeah.
So that was in Bordeaux. We played a couple of games in Paris and played in Bordeaux. Yeah, that wasn't a good World Cup either. I'm not sure I've the right advice for any Irish players. They're very experienced now, and I think they've been to New Zealand, they've won the Six Nations. It's a little bit different, a World Cup, and there'll be expectation and pressure in Ireland because we've never gone past the quarterfinals, so they'll be pretty aware and conscious of that bit of extra pressure and expectation now because they're ranked number 1 in the world.
Yeah.
What may benefit this team is what happened in 2019. I think in one sense it's a good situation, and lots of these players don't have the baggage of previous World Cups.
True.
But ultimately, no matter what has happened in the past, it's all about what they can produce and do themselves.
After a trip across on the ferry and our drive down from Cherbourg, we've now got our first taste of what France will provide when the Rugby World Cup arrives in September. OTB is here in France in partnership with Irish Ferries. See travel differently. Next up on our adventure is a stop in a little harbour city you may have heard of thanks to a certain Ronan O'Gara. That's right, we're off to La Rochelle.